Right now on Up With KREM, less than a week after the Department of Health told us there were no plans to bring back mass COVID testing, they're now looking into setting up 2 testing sites in Spokane.
Plus, terrifying moments for one mother after her car is stolen with her baby inside.
And of course, we're going to take you outside today. A beautiful shot of some traffic moving through downtown. Riverfront Park might be the place to be later on. I'll let you know why.
Good morning. Thanks so much for watching Up With KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Well, the latest report from the American Academy of Pediatrics shows that the U.S. just hit its second highest number of child COVID cases in 1 week since the pandemic began.
So the good news, a vaccine for kids is on the way. Pfizer announcing this week that medical trials show its vaccine is safe for children ages 5 to 11. Those positive results mean Pfizer will now send this data to regulatory agencies around the world, including the FDA and European Medicines Agency for approval.
If the FDA looks at this data and feels confident that it demonstrates that this vaccine is safe and effective for children 5 to 11, you could have a vaccine within a month to 6 weeks.
Trial results for kids under 5 could be available by the end of the year. And many of you have asked us how the COVID vaccine can be approved for kids so quickly.
So just like any other vaccines, the dose will go through an approval process. And here's what that looks like. Whether it's vaccines for children, boosters, emergency use, or full approval, there are a several-step process manufacturer needs to go through to get the green light. Manufacturers put the vaccines through multiple phases of trials to gather data to show federal regulators. After receiving emergency use authorization, those studies can also expand to include real-world data.
The FDA's Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee will then review the information for the FDA to approve. Likewise, an independent committee also reviews the safety and efficacy information for the CDC to issue guidance on how that vaccine can be given. Now, once it goes through both the FDA and the CDC, then it can be given to the public.
So right now, it can be hard to find a COVID-19 test in Spokane, but that may be changing in the next few weeks.
Washington health leaders plan to add 2 testing sites in the city. Nicole Hernandez is joining us live this morning. So Nicole, can you tell us more about where these new testing sites will be?
Yeah, so right now local health leaders have 2 real spots in mind for where these testing spots are going to be. One of them is at Spokane Community College, and the other is right here where we're live right now at Spokane Falls Community College. So several different departments from Spokane Regional Health District to the Washington State Department of Health are involved in making these testing sites happen. So the Spokane Regional Health District and the Discovery Health recommended these sites be up at the 2 colleges. Officials will be on site this week to make sure the locations can handle a mass testing site. The sites could be up and running in as soon as 3 weeks. Health leaders say they will hire local healthcare workers to help run the site. Discovery Health will also bring in staff from Seattle. Right now, it seems impossible to get a COVID test in Spokane. Local leaders say that's because staffing shortages are playing a role in longer wait times for tests. The Washington Department of Health is also concerned about the number of workers they have to administer tests and work in hospitals. Now, last year, Spokane previously had a mass testing site at the Spokane Arena. That eventually closed as the arena turned into a mass vaccination site in February. Then that vaccine clinic at the arena closed in June. So if you're interested in more information specifically about these new testing sites, you can text the word TEST to 509-448-2000. We'll send you a link with that information. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
All right, thank you, Nicole. The time is now 6:34. Look at this gorgeous sunrise that's happening right now on the last day of summer, guys. We got to soak this in while we can.
I know, I was holding on to summer, but you know, I had to turn on the heat.
You had to.
I could have waited one more day, but I was like, you know what?
It's okay. Do you, Tim?
Thank you.
Do you?
I'm going to do me and continue reading slow, you know? Jeremy, you want to call me out for something else?
That's okay. You don't have to listen to Jeremy.
I just need to keep my mouth shut. Tim is a well-rounded individual who is great at many things.
Oh, don't butter me up.
Buttering me up because at some point today, something's going to spew out of my mouth and I'm going to go, why did I do that?
Well, that already happened.
I know, right?
It did. I was like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And then the next thing I knew, I couldn't catch the words as they were flying out. I went, oh man. But here we are, actually stalled there for that moment. And welcome to sunrise. The sun has officially risen now over Spokane. And you're going, you're full of it. Well, the sunrise actually counts the horizon, not the mountain peak. So yes, it's gone above the horizon. No, it hasn't risen above the mountain peak. So now we wait. It's a weird calculation to get that sunrise sunset time. It is up for 12 hours and 13 minutes today. That's a fun bit of news. Noon kind of occurs at 12:42. That's another sun fact, or the highest point in the day for that sunshine. Now, when it comes to temperatures, we're still a bit chilly. 44 degrees in Spokane, 38 in Coeur d'Alene, 36 in Foggy and Sandpoint. And speaking of that fog, well, it's where the temperatures are a bit cooler. 35 in Deer Park. You move off to the north, find yourself up in Colville, you're in the low 30s, 38 in Coeur d'Alene. You move down to St. Mary's, you're in the mid 30s. It's a little bit chilly. That correlates with some of the fog, 25, a quarter of a mile visibility in Sandpoint. There we go, got it. Kalispell near zero visibility. It is a foggy one in areas, especially if you have a body of water. I think that's going to be the case for a little while longer here. That sun has to get up and over some of those mountains in order to start warming things up. But once it does it rather rapidly. We're looking at a pretty decent jump in temperatures today, a more than 30 degrees swing as we climb to the mid 70s later on this afternoon. This is the last full day of summer.
Well, right now, all eyes are on the New York Stock Exchange. Here is a live look at the big board right now.
So on Monday, the market had a sharp downturn, and it was the biggest drop since May. The reason? First, there are concerns over Chinese real estate developers and what they could do to investors worldwide. And then second, investors are also looking at surging COVID infection rates, as well as any action from the Federal Reserve when it discusses monetary policy later this week.
The sell-off was broad, affecting most sectors of the economy. Financial, energy, and tech stocks took a big hit. The Dow tumbled 614 points. The Nasdaq was down 330, a drop of more than 2%. And the S&P 500 fell 75. Cryptocurrencies were among the hardest hit category.
The time now, 6:37. It is time for your morning rush. First up, this morning, a newborn is safe with its mother after the car it was in was stolen.
That's right. Now, this is the actual moment that they were reunited. This incident happened yesterday at a furniture store on the west side in Auburn. Police say the mother left her baby inside a running SUV while she went inside to use the restroom. When she came back out, her car was gone and so was her child. The theft happened in just seconds, and the baby was missing for more than an hour. Police were able to locate the SUV just before an Amber Alert was sent out. The suspect tried to escape, but canine officers were able to stop him. And video from neighbors showed the suspect getting arrested.
It's kind of scary because, usually when you hear about it, the person who would carjack or, steal something would run around or something, try to escape.
Right now, police don't know if the suspect knew that the baby was inside the vehicle when he stole it.
Next month, casino goers will soon be able to place bets on their favorite sports teams at Northern Quest. Well, KREM 2 got a sneak peek inside the Turf Club Sportsbook, and there will be stadium seating, screens, a bar, and virtual slot machines. The GM says it will have a very Vegas feel to it.
Walk up and place a bet. That giant LED screen behind you, behind the counter there, is where you'll see all your lines and all your odds to place your wager.
Bets can only be placed on professional teams, which means no betting on minor leagues or college teams, and that includes the Spokane Chiefs and Indians, the Cougs, and you guessed it.
Unfortunately, you can't place a wager on the Zags.
The new sport betting section of Northern Quest opens up next month.
Well, it might be a sign that fire season is coming to an end. The statewide burn ban has been lifted in Washington. Commissioner of Lands Hillary Franz made the announcement this week. And after a weekend full of rain, Franz says we have the shifting weather to thank. So that means campfires, charcoal briquettes, and even prescribed burns on DNR-owned lands can resume.
An Oregon teacher is out of a job after taking extreme measures to protest against vaccines. School district officials say the teacher wanted to resemble Rosa Parks when protesting the vaccine mandate. Right now, K through 12 school employees across Oregon must be fully vaccinated. Parents are now blaming the school board, saying more problems started to surface after it banned all Black Lives Matter and Pride symbols from district facilities.
I really believe that they have unleashed something in this community that we have to address. And the thing that they've unleashed in this community, in my opinion, is racism.
The incident comes after some Newburgh High School students participated in a Snapchat group called Slave Trade, where they joked about how much they'd pay for their black classmates in a slave auction. As for the teacher, she is now on leave as the school leaders open up an investigation.
That's your Morning Rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's going on in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
Verify here with your fast fact. When President Joe Biden was on the campaign trail, he pledged to address the amount of outstanding student loan debt. Now, a viral tweet with more than 48,000 likes asks, who is receiving the benefit of the president's loan cancellation effort? So, let's verify. Has President Joe Biden's administration canceled $9 billion in student loans? These are our sources. The Department of Education pointed us to 3 programs since President Biden took office. One discharged or canceled $1 billion of loans for students who proved their lenders engaged in misconduct. Another discharged more than $1 billion in debt for some former students at ITT Technical Institute, which closed in 2016. And a third is a program that discharges loans for people with disabilities. Last month, education officials said it approved nearly 500,000 people for the program. So it's true. When these programs are combined, President Biden's administration has canceled $9 billion in loans. However, that's just the drop in the bucket. The Federal Reserve estimates that's not even 1% of the nation's total student loan debt, currently held by nearly 80 million Americans. With your Fast Fact, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Well, and if you stick around, coming up after the break, we're going to take you outside and talk a mild few days ahead in terms of weather and an absolutely beautiful first weekend of fall.